Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use, tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, this is from I'll get the name of the paper later. Congressman Dan Kildee, Michigan's 8th District. Kildee leaders' new bill to crack down on child labor in America. Pay real close attention to exactly what this is about. April 27th, 2023. Illegal child labor has increased by 69% since 2018. Always remember, too, they speak in gematria and numerical codes. Washington. Congressman Dan Kildee, Michigan 08, today introduced new legislation to hold corporations accountable for illegally employing children in the United States. Yet no word of the religions, though. You see what I mean? His new legislation, the Combating Child Labor Act, would establish harsher civil and criminal penalties for violations of existing child labor laws and increase transparency for the American people about violations. Maybe we should send these articles to the Los Angeles Police Department so they understand that child labor is against the law. I don't think they seem to kind of understand. Disturbing reports in recent months have documented the rise in companies illegally employing children in dangerous jobs. As a result, several children have sustained serious injuries, like the Moxon girl. These reports show child labor is a systemic issue in Michigan and the U.S., with children illegally making products for major corporations in the automotive, processed food, and textile industries. Anything for money. Our children should be in classrooms learning, not working in dangerous factory jobs. We must do more to protect children from exploitative companies that are looking to take advantage of child labor. Yes, Scientology. Children are not adults in small bodies. To help pad their own corporate profits, David Miscavige, said Congressman Kildee. I am proud to introduce new legislation to severely increase civil and criminal penalties on those who hire children illegally. Currently, the civil and criminal penalties for those who violate child labor laws fail to deter bad actors. The maximum civil penalty for routine violations is only $15,000, $138, and there are no minimum civil penalties. When you add all those numbers, 15138, it comes to a 9. 9 is very symbolic, just so everyone knows. For criminal penalties after a second conviction, violators can only be fined up to $10,000 or be sentenced to up to 6 months in jail, or both. So basically, the children's lives are only worth $10,000. Congressman Kildee's Combating Child Labor Act would, for the first time, establish minimum civil penalties for violations of child labor standards and increase maximum penalties to $150,000 per violation. Scientology, listen to that. you guys might get penalized $150,000 per violation for working the children. That's a lot of money for you, Scientology. If the violations are found to be willful, children in adult bodies is willful, or repeated, Scientology, the minimum and maximum penalties double. Ooh, you might have to go 300,000. Little Davy from the fake Space Navy might get upset. Establish minimum civil penalties for violations of child labor standards that cause death or serious injury of a minor. Like the Moxon girl. Although I think there was more to her death. And increase maximum penalties to $700,000. Scientology, you guys better get your wallets out. If the violations are found to be willful or repeated, like over 50 years span time, the minimum and maximum penalties double. You guys are about to be paying some money. Establish new criminal penalties for repeat or willful violations of child labor standards for up to $100,000 and or 5 years in jail. Also, too, I can't help but think it does make it's what is the word that I'm looking for? It's making everything there's a material value on all this, is what I'm saying. For up to $100,000 and or 5 years in jail. Scientologists, you guys better get ready. Repeat or willful violations of child labor standards that cause serious injury or death can carry a penalty of up to $500,000 and or 10 years in jail. Require the U.S. Department of Labor to annually submit a report to Congress which would provide public information about what companies are directly benefiting from the illegal employment of children and help Department of Labor understand how they can better eradicate child labor from our economy. Imagine we're in the year 2024 and we're still going through this. Was that movie, Greed is Good? In addition to Congressman Kildee, the legislation is co-sponsored by Representatives Alma Adams, North Carolina 12, Yadira Caraveo, Colorado 08, Tony Cardenas, California 29, Andre Carson, Indiana 07, Greg Cesar, Texas 35, Judy Chu, California 28, oh boy, Yvette Clark, New York 09, Madeline Dean, Pennsylvania 04, Debbie Dingle, Michigan 06, Dwight Evans, Pennsylvania 03, Jesus Garcia, Illinois 04, Eleanor Holmes Norton, D.C. at large, Pramila J. Powell, Washington 07, Barbara Lee, California 12, Stephen F. Lynch, Massachusetts 08, Jim McGovern, Massachusetts 02, Gwen Moore, Wisconsin 04, Kevin Mullen, California 15, Donald Norcross, New Jersey 01, Linda Sanchez, California 38, Jan Chakowski, Illinois 09, Hillary Schulten, Michigan 03, Elisa Slotkin, Michigan 07, Mark Takano, California 39, Shrith Thanatar, Michigan 13, Dina Titus, Nevada 01, Rashida Tlaib, Michigan 12, Jill Dokuda, Hawaii 02, David Trone, Maryland 06, Nydia Velasquez, New York 07, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Florida 25, and Nikema Williams, Georgia 05. Congressman Kildee's legislation is endorsed by a broad coalition of organizations committed to eradicating illegal child labor, including the Child Labor Coalition, representing 39 organizations. 39 is a Freemasonic number. You know, they're not all doing all bad. The National Consumers League and the United Food and Commercial Workers International Union. Might be good to get a hold of those representatives regarding Scientology, child labor, and abuses. The 39 members of the Child Labor Coalition and the National Consumers League, the nation's longest operating national consumer organization, both heartily welcome Congressman Kildee's Combating Child Labor Act with its significantly increased child labor fines and child labor reporting requirements. Clearly, current child labor fine levels are not sufficient to elicit the compliance of large corporations, many of which have annual revenues in the hundreds of millions of dollars or more. Fines must be significantly higher, said Reed Mackey, Director of Child Labor Advocacy and Coordinator for the Child Labor Coalition. In light of the recent news from the Department of Labor regarding child labor, it is clear that stronger penalties are needed to ensure that children do not continue to be exploited. Scientology, you better be listening, because your policies are illegal. This is why the United Food and Commercial Workers International Union endorses the Combating Child Labor Act and is proud to stand with Congressman Dan Kildee and the other co-sponsors of this bill. The Combating Child Labor Act will not only get tough on the exploitation of child labor, but also adds more transparency on which companies, like Scientology, are the worst violators, said Adamola Oyefeso, Vice President and Director of Legislative and Political Action Department, UFCW International. Congressman Kildee has been leading efforts to combat child labor in Congress. In February, Congressman Kildee sent a letter to Department of Labor requesting increased action to address child labor in U.S. supply chains. In March, Kildee led 62 members of Congress in a second letter urging Department of Labor and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to take stronger enforcement actions against those who violate child labor laws. LAPD, how about that? Are you guys listening? So that is from dankildee.house.gov. I will make sure to leave a link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Peace.